So this weekend, I went to the Squaw Writers Conference just as a member of the public, and it was incredible. It was so amazing. Joyce Carol Oates read, and she's so poised, so elegant, so intelligent, and hilarious, like in a really morbid, disturbing way. I mean, you just have like this really elegant, lady with an East Coast accent on the stage, and she's just going into detail about how this crazy character beheads a fictitious prime minister, and it was so gruesome and hilarious. Um, I really can't explain how awesome it is. I really can't. She's just so incredible. The way she just gets the reader to identify with someone who's absolutely off their rocker. Um, she's been one of my favorite authors since I was a kid. When I was in high school, I pretty much read everything on the library shelf by her, and so she's been a big influence for me. And so it was really great to see her. And then Amy Tan was amazing. She's hysterical. She dropped the F-bomb a lot in the panel workshop in the afternoon, which I found to be refreshing. The only book I've read so far by Amy Tan is The Kitchen God's Wife, but it made a huge impression on me. I did it as an audiobook while I was commuting, and I'm just like driving the 80 and like sobbing in the best way possible. She really gets you in the feels, but she has a way to, like, she sets up this container for the reader so that like you can handle it. And she's also funny. She's just hilarious. When she did her reading, she had me in stitches. So it was great to see those power players. And then, I learned so much just from the panels that were available. So many great writing tips. My novel teacher, Rachel Howard, was in a panel. And so I went up on Sunday to cheer for her with my friend Heidi. We took her class together on a novel workshopping class. And Rachel Howard is like a powerhouse. I mean, she can look at your novel and just tell you exactly what you need to do in like the nicest way possible, which I just so appreciate. And in the panel, she talked about kind of one of probably the most important thing that she passed off to us as her students is having a line of tension. And she described it in the panel on Sunday as like a train rail, an electric train rail, and you have to be on the train rail and have that electricity humming through your book. And so that was a great reminder for me. It's always such a pleasure to hear her. Some other really great readers, and God, and it was beautiful. You're up in the mountains. The mountains still had a little bit of snow. It was gorgeous out, and just to be in a room with all of these really dedicated writers, like just the energy. I mean, talking about like an electric train rail humming through the room, like just everyone was so jazzed to be there. The energy was so good. And I just feel really encouraged. I feel really encouraged. One of the panel members, and I'm totally blanking on who it was, they said like, you can write your life's work in 30 minutes a day. And so I'm really going to take that to heart. And every day, even if it's just 5 minutes or something, just to touch in with my work and just keep going. So thank you, Squaw Valley, for having such amazing events open to the public. I mean, most of the events for free, and then I paid like $20 to hear Amy Tan and Joyce Carol Oates read, which worth it. They're like, that's how much I'd pay to see rock stars, and they're basically rock stars in my book. So, thank you to Squaw for opening that event up to the public. I did apply to Squaw this year, and I didn't get in, and I wasn't upset about it until I went up to Squaw, and I saw how awesome it was, and I was like, I want to get in so bad. It's such a pitfall with being a writer and publishing. The writing really feeds you, or at least it feeds me, but then to go out there and try and go after things like publications or getting into a conference or awards, that's where it gets tricky. That's where you can get kind of bitter. I'm not bitter, but I do have to say that I'm even more encouraged now to apply next year. Next year, Squaw's having their 50th anniversary. So you better believe that I'm applying, and you better believe I'm going to get in. I mean, I can't control that part. If I don't get in, I'm going to take off a week from work and get a cabin up at Squaw and go to all the free public events at the very least. But I think I can get in. And I think I will be applying to both programs next year, poetry and fiction, just because they're both my passion. And it's, twice the chances. So fingers crossed. It was an amazing weekend. I left feeling really inspired, really grateful. I was able to see the fabulous Sands Hall for just a minute and say hi to her, and her family puts on that event, and it's. I'll end by saying it's just really special to be a part of this community. Saturday I went up with writing buddies for my women's writing group, Full Mantra, and they're both, wonderful, talented writers. And then Sunday I went up with my friend Heidi. We had done a writing workshop with Rachel Howard. Saturday night I got to see The Big Deal, Amy Tan and Joyce Carol Oates, with my good friend and mentor, Gene Burson, who's my poetry mentor. And he's just amazing. I mean, his work is incredible. So I'll just end by saying it's really incredible to be part of a writer's community. For a long time, I was only an online writer's community. And so it's just really powerful to be in community and to be welcome. And I'm so happy. And I hope I can share some of that passion with you. If there's anything I can share with you, it's, make time for your work as much as you can whenever, life is busy and we live in crazy times, but to make it for you. And I'm going to be writing a blog post pretty soon. One of the big questions I had going into this conference as a writer is, our world is like dying. I'm not being melodramatic. I mean, my husband told me like this horrible fact the other day that 90% of the fish in the ocean have died. And my little human brain can't even comprehend the tragedy that is, and just the really intense times we live in, the human injustices on top of the environmental crisis. And so being a writer in this moment, it's like I came in and I was like, give me hope. and the writers did talk quite a lot about how important it is to tell stories, and how to be politically relevant, but then also being true to your work. So I'll be blogging about that, and so stay tuned. And again, I think not to, say it too many times. I don't think you can say it too many times, but I think writing is important, and telling your story does matter. It's probably the bravest thing somebody can do. So I'm going to be making time every day, or at least regularly. I'm going to figure it out. I don't know exactly what, but I am going to write my life's work. And so for me, I think originally I was going to be working on a romantic comedy trilogy, and I'll get back to that because it's hysterical. I mean, I crack myself up. I hope I crack other people up. But I think, with the 2016 election and the world being in the state that it's in, I've been working on a YA fantasy that's about healing familial trauma, healing family trauma. And so I just felt really like confirmed. This weekend confirmed for me that I'm on the right path and working on important things, including my poetry, which I think is germane, certainly. So all that is to say, I encourage you, writers out there, to be true to your work and not feel discouraged by the difficult and desperate times that we live in. And I think that sharing your work and being part of the conversation is political, and it is important. And I think, one of the things our world lacks is empathy and understanding. And what greater vehicle for that than creative writing and storytelling? So with that, I bid you thanks. And if you went to the Squaw Writers Conference, please let me know in the comments how you enjoyed it. Take care.